Hi guys, so today we'll be building a Codeforces clone and I'll be just telling you how you can build this kind of platform. This is not a tutorial, this is just for giving you an idea how a real-time coding platform works like a Lead Code or Codeforces. Let's dive into it. First I'll demo what I've built. So let me just log out and let me just log in. So first you have to register, and once you have registered with your email and password, you can just go ahead and log in. Once you have logged in, you can see that there might be some problems, and if you go into the problems, you can see the problem statement, input, output, and the constraints. There is a example given over here. Now I'll also upload a file which I believe solves this problem, and I'll submit it. And yeah, right now it's just showing running code because I have turned off the server, so that's not a problem. Here, yeah, internal server had become because the server I have stopped it. Now if the code file is correct, it will give you AC. If it's wrong, it will give you WA, which is wrong answer. So today I'll be discussing how you can build such a system. So let's first dive into the system design of this. Now, okay, let me just bring it over here and let me, yes, yeah. So this is the high level design of this. First, you need to understand that whatever the code that you are going to pass to a particular server, what it should do is it should execute that piece of code with a standard input in a sandboxed environment. Why sandboxed environment? Because any sort of malicious code can be sent by the user. Like, he can send an infinite loop, he can send some terminal commands that are like sudo rm-rf and such sort of malicious commands. Therefore the need for sandboxing becomes crucial. Now what I have done is, first let's focus on this part. So think of it like this way: you are a user, uh, okay, on the platform. You have logged in with your credentials. Now you want to solve a problem. So what does a problem contain? It contains a bunch of inputs, a bunch of expected output, and the problem statement. Now you write a piece of code that should run against those test cases, which are the inputs, and should give the expected output. Now to accomplish this, uh, the server which should run this should be sandboxed, as I said. So therefore I am using a pre-built one of the open source alternatives of this sandbox environment, which is called Judge Zero API server. Let me show you the actual website of Judge Zero. These are one of the world's best systems to implement code execution. Yeah, code execution made simple for every business. If you see their GitHub profile, even they state that where is it? I believe this is it. Robust, fast, scalable, sandboxed environment. And here, if you go into changelog.md, you can actually study how you can, deploy this by yourself. So the Judge Zero guys have made their cloud plans also, where you can like host the Judge Zero API server into their platform. They charge the fees as necessary, but the best thing for a small project like this is to deploy it yourself on a EC2 instance or any virtual machine. Here you have all the commands on how to do it. Now if we go back to the diagram, so this is the server that I have rented from AWS. It's a T3 medium thing, which has 16 GB RAM and a 40 GB of storage. It uses Ubuntu as the operating system, as stated by the Judge Zero that they need that particular software, I mean the operating system. And these Dockerized server containers are from the Judge Zero itself. So if I may show you, you can see that here you will be able to see that Redis and PostgreSQL are used, as well as an Ubuntu image. And the Judge Zero API is also like we get it from this URL and we unzip it. So there are three containers that are to be installed once you log into the server. So you can rent it out on Vultr or DigitalOcean, anything. And once you are doing, once you have set up the instance, just SSH into it via, you know, your terminal, if I show you my terminal, um, I can actually SSH into this, but I believe I should not show you the how I will log in. Actually, you can generate a, what do I say, key value pair for logging. It's stored in a PEM file. I can show you. Yeah, this is the PEM file that I have. So it's a key that you can use to access the computer, which is this instance that you have procured. Now the thing that we have to build is we have to build a front end for it. Front end is really easy. You can use any framework for it, and you need a way to communicate to your backend. So therefore, your primary server comes in that actually takes the code from the user and then gives it to the judge. So this is where I have used Next.js API server. Let me show you the code. Everything is open source, so you can see. Oops, yeah. Now, if you can see, this is the authentication APIs which I've written, and these are the judge APIs. So if you see over here, I'm just taking in the form data which contains file, problem, and the user ID, and depending on the language that they use, I'll just send it to the judge URL, which is in my environmental variables. It sends us some response, and these responses are really good by the judge. So they also give compiler errors, runtime errors, time limit exceeded, and also accepted and wrong answer. Now, the thing to note about is when Judge 0 gives you accepted or wrong answer, this you have to handle manually. So, the best thing that you can do is write the problem statements in a text file and compare the output with the given output by the Judge 0. So, I think that's one of the best ways. What I have done is I have not uh, put the problem statements as a text files in any S3 bucket, which also you can search it upon. I have just I have just kept those files in my server itself. Not the best thing to do because I needed this project for a particular club event, so therefore there is no necessity of it. So yeah, I didn't keep those problem text files, the problem statements, the inputs and output files as in S3 bucket. I just put them on the server. Not the best thing to do again. The primary database is PostgreSQL, where we have three tables: user table, submissions table, as well as problem state tables you can have. I didn't have the problems table. I only have two tables, and Prisma for interacting with the database. This I have procured from Avian. They give you free instance, a small machine they give with Postgres spin up. So this is the whole high level architecture. The great thing to know about this is that it is relatively easy to build, but it will require you to understand and grasp all the concepts very carefully. First, you need a lot of time will be taken to set up the instance, and then firewall settings, and if you stop the instance, the IP address changes, etc. And you have to be really thorough with writing the APIs and all of everything. Now the code that I have written is already deployed, so anyone in the world can access it. One more thing to note, one more thing to note here is that security is very important. So your instance should have firewall settings that only can access by the things that you want it to access. For example, the IP address or the domain name of my deployed application should be allowed to access the instance, and rest of all the traffic coming from the world should not be allowed to access. So yeah, this was the a small video of how you can build your own Codeforces or a code competitive programming thing. I hope you enjoyed it. This was just a high level design discussion about it. There are other tutorials from Harkirat Singh and Hitesh Chaudhary sir. They have discussed in way detail fashion. But yeah, you can also build this. I think this is a good you know project that you can build. And here I have just implemented taking in the file from the user. You can also use Monaco editor, uh, Monaco editor, and as in you have in lead code, you can actually set up the editor and then you can take input from this as well, like an editor in the browser. So this is a cool thing that you can implement on top of it. The code and the deployed link will be given in the description. If the deployed link is not given in the description, maybe I have some problems with it. So, but yeah, you understand the point. You have the code, so you can obviously run it. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.